Welcome back, everybody. We are in our family room. Our family room. We're in a family mood. Words are hard. Here with the latest on why so many children and adults as well bite their nails is Dr. JJ. So, a show of hands. Be honest, who bites their nails here?
I'm just not going to show my fingernails.
This half of the couch is judging you.
Big time.
Don't judge us. We live in a more stressful world than you, perhaps.
Oh, I don't think so.
Well, why does it happen, Dr. JJ?
You know, it's such a common habit, and it's usually broken by the time people are adults. But I mean, 5 to 10% of us still linger, and there's a number of reasons. One is some kids actually look at adults biting their fingers and they emulate their behavior. It's kind of cool, and then it very quickly becomes a habit. Also, when we're kids or when we're adults, if we're stressed, if we're anxious, if we're bored, or if we have a family history of nail biting. It's so interesting. You can trace nail biting through generations.
It's genetic?
It's thought that maybe there's some familial factors for coping, or that we cope like our parents or our family do. And then third, and less likely, but definitely there, is that nail biting sometimes under the rarest of circumstances can be a symptom of obsessive compulsive disorder or anxiety disorders. But that's rare. I have to emphasize how normal this is as a habit.
Mark, it's normal. Is yours a normal habit or an obsessive compulsive one?
I'm not sure what it is because I've tried to stop.
When did you start? Do you remember?
At the beginning.
Okay.
I mean,
That's a good
I
place.
don't know. I mean, I've done it, I think, my whole life. And I've actually gotten to a point where I would carry around a little nail clipper and I would try to, because as soon as I get to a certain length for me, that starts to bother me. If I start, I'll start, I got a little dirt on it, and I'll start doing that. I'll go, you know what, I could probably bite that off.
Right.
And that's where it goes to. And I find myself more times than not in the traffic, I'll be stuck in the 405 or whatever, and I'm like,
And
so
that's
whether
a
I'm
little
bored or stressed or
yeah,
whatever,
a little bit of
but I'm
both.
sure Nick, my assistant, I'm like, can you go get my car washed? I'm sure he gets in the car and goes, my Lord, what's on the floorboard here, you know? Like, I mean,
Whoa, it's that bad that you're literally cleaning your entire
if I could
both
reach my
hands?
feet, I would chew those. Joking.
Shut it down.
I don't think you are joking. I'm not sure you are.
It is a disgusting habit that I'd like to quit.
Yeah,
You know,
it is.
yeah,
And Debbie, what's your story?
I don't know where mine started either. I think mine is, I think it's from stress. Because I think, a lot of people do different things from stress. Some people eat, some people drink, some people smoke. I literally will chew my nails down to nubs, and to where it begins to bleed. And then if there's no nail, I'll just get the skin. And then I'm like, what am I doing? I look over my whole...
But I don't even manage the cuticles either. I love
getting the cuticles. I know what I do now? I do gel nails.
Yep.
So if I do gels, it's too hard for me to bite
Yeah.
because it'll break a tooth.
Good.
Okay,
No,
so-
and it's true. And like when I was in college and I was pre-med and I was, thinking about just what life had to hold in front of me, that's when I actually started biting. But I also would pick, because if there was a loose end, I would try to go for it. And even now, like today, I didn't wear my manicured nails. I have a little bit of polish left here, and believe me, all day long, I've just been picking at it. It's just like you just want a clean house.
And mine's in the
very
opposite
true.
because one son does take care of his nails. I don't know if Kai chews or clips, but Avery, they're like, son, they're curling. You got to cut them. Like he will not cut his nails at all. He's fine
Wow,
with it.
he's the complete opposite of you.
I can't. I know clearly. So all right. So solutions.
Okay, so there are solutions definitely, and they really should revolve around a developmental level. So for example, when you have a little kid, you want to try to distract them. You don't want to do anything really aversive like snapping rubber bands on their wrists or putting bitter polish on them, because that's not
people would
nice.
snap rubber bands?
That's actually in the literature.
I do.
It's actually, if you look on the internet for cures for this, that's an aversive technique, which I really don't believe in. We
I
should
don't
be
believe
So
very
what? The
glad and
child would
awful.
know they're doing it and then snap themselves, or the
Yeah,
parent
but
would
it's
see
just
it.
it's distraction, but it's also reminding them that it's something bad, and really when in fact we
It's
have
like a
to,
shock collar for a dog.
It's not
Yeah, I'm not a
necessarily
fan of
my
that.
cup of tea as a
No,
pediatrician.
okay. Don't
So
look
we
at
can
that.
do things to sort of soften this area, because we know when our nails get hard or rigid or our cuticles get itchy or hard, that's a nidus or a focus for
Yeah.
picking. So using something simple like brushing olive oil on the cuticles will soften them. Regular manicures and regular nail grooming so that you don't have that critical mass to pick from
Yeah.
is reasonable. And for, for little kids too, we can use gloves, but adults we can too. At home, not at school, I wouldn't recommend
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And at home too, we can put Band-Aids or adhesive on the fingers, but again, not at school because we don't want to shine a light, or a sign on them saying, kick me, I'm a nail biter. That's just not the right way to go.
Sure.
So those are good ways. And the other thing is fidget toys. You can buy these by the dozen in bags, and all ages could grab this sort of as a cue. If you start to see yourself biting or somebody points it out to you, you grab a fidget toy. You might have one in your pocket, or you might just want to,
Could be a pet rock.
it could be anything.
Remember Pet
It could
Rocks?
be anything. A distraction,
you like.
or I know in many cases you could just put a person to work, say, hey, help me with this. Let's use
Give
your
them
hands a
something to
different
do.
way. Exactly.
Idle
Boredom
hands.
is a big part of
So
this.
you put a certain, I don't know what this is. You put something on our fingers before we started this segment.
I did, and I'm gonna tell you about this. This is called a bitter polish, and many people make it. And this can be a very, very useful technique for someone who is motivated to quit nail biting.
Okay.
That being said, what you do is, depending on the instructions from the manufacturer, you polish your nails once, twice, sometimes every day of the week. And this applies a bitter taste. And believe me, there's no more aversive thing than putting your finger in your mouth and tasting what I just put on. So that certainly is one of the techniques, but not to be done if a person is not informed. I don't believe in that as a kind
Right.
way to do this. But if you're self-motivated, these actually work very well within 2 to 3
ready?
weeks.
You wanna
And they're
try to-
invisible,
you
so
wanna
I want
try
you
to
guys
bite?
to try
All right.
and see what you... Yeah, so wouldn't that immediately want you to cast that out?
Yeah, that
from your
doesn't
hand?
taste good.
Exactly.
And now it's on my lips.
Exactly. And these are readily available. Other people use, Tabasco sauce and
Ew.
all that. But if you like spicy, sometimes
growing.
it's actually
Getting
a very
worse.
positive
We
thing. Are
usually-
you getting?
Now it's just repulsive. Now I need to brush my teeth.
We usually like to have like a fun button at the end of segments.
Yeah.
This is clearly a bitter ending.